Well, hi there, Buccaneer fans. We're getting ready. It's almost here, Thursday night, the 2014 NFL Draft. I'm TJ Reeves from the Buccaneers Radio Network and Buccaneers.com. And I've got distinguished guests with me out here today. You know this man from Buccaneers.com, senior writer Scott Smith. Good to be with you.
Thanks. What makes me distinguished? Is it the gray hair?
The fact that you're still here, that we're all still here, and we're still trying to figure this stuff out. And this man, former Buccaneer tight end, the former first-round pick in the 2000 draft, the 27th selection of the New York Jets, Anthony Beck. Good to see you.
It's great to be here, fellas. Absolutely.
Okay, so to you, first of all, we want to kind of go over the beginning of the draft, and we will get to what the Bucs are up to in a couple of moments. Houston Texans, as we're talking right now, have the number 1 overall pick. We don't know for sure what's going to happen. Will they keep it? Will they trade it? If they keep it, what do you believe the Texans might do, Anthony?
Well, when I look at the Houston Texans, I look at, who would they take on defense? And you look at Romeo Crennel's style. He runs a 3-4 defense. I just don't think Jadeveon Clowney is that perfect fit for that defense. I think you're going to get a lot more over the course of history of what Romeo's been able to do on defense as a coach out of Khalil Mack. So don't be surprised if they go and take Khalil Mack at the number 1 pick. Now, flip on the other side. I think there's great value at the number 1 pick to take the best quarterback available on their board, just because of this. If you look at the Houston Texans, they got great receivers. They got a good offensive line.
Got Arian Foster.
Exactly. Their defense is going to be better because they got J.J. Watt and they got Romeo Crennel in place. So I just think the missing component is a quarterback. So now you don't need a franchise per se quarterback out of these guys that come in. You just need the best guy that fits your system. And to me, Blake Bortles would be a perfect combination for this team to take if they decide to take a quarterback at number 1.
So he gave us a lot there on the Texans. What do you think?
Well, maybe they don't even have to take the quarterback at number 1. I know this time of year it's all smoke screens, or maybe it's an anti-smoke screen and they're really saying what they want to do. But when you're picking number 1, there's really not that much of a need to have a big smoke screen. You can be a little more obvious with your intentions. And I think Bob McNair, the owner, was the other day. You didn't even have to read between the lines with what he was saying. It really sounded like they are motivated to trade down, and I think it's probably what Anthony said. They can trade down and still get Blake.
But do you believe, to his point, that they keep the pick at 1 and they don't take Manziel and take another quarterback like Bortles? I mean, that is marketing suicide, is it not?
Well,
possibly.
Not if it's Manziel. I mean,
right. But I mean, if they don't take Manziel and they take another quarterback instead,
it would be strange. And I think while what you said makes sense, you could also take that Khalil Mack, and there's probably going to be a quarterback at the top of the second round. I'm sure they're gun shy about taking Derek Carr, but maybe Terry Bridgewater's there.
Maybe Bridgewater.
Or maybe they can trade back up and get Blake Bortles midway through the round.
There's one thing about this team is that they had one bad season. They are a good team. They could flip it around real quick in 2014.
All right, another point. These are all teams in front of the Bucs that presumably would need a quarterback. Houston, Oakland, Jacksonville, Cleveland. How surprised would you guys be, Anthony, you first, if all 4 of those teams in front of the Buccaneers do not take a quarterback?
I think it's a strong possibility. I think we're going to see. I think there's going to be at least 1 be taken. Like I said, the Texans have an option there to go ahead and go do that. I think Cleveland's in play for a quarterback also. When I look at the first 3 picks, I think you don't have to really trade out of those positions. I think there's a need at a player that each of those teams can get. You look at the Rams at 2. I think Greg Robinson out of Auburn's a lock to go maybe at that tackle position. You'll talk about Jake Long and him. And then at the 3 position, you look at Jacksonville, Jadeveon Clowney. If Khalil Mack or quarterback goes at 1, man, that's a great pick for them, especially you look at Gus Bradley. And you look at what the Seattle Seahawks, when he came from them, they didn't have that star quarterback. They were able to fill him in with the players they had on their roster.
You agree?
I like what I'm hearing so far, because the name I haven't heard that's dropping closer and closer to 7 is Sammy Watkins. And I may not be the only one who feels like that would be the home run for the Buccaneers. But no, getting back to the original question, I don't agree. I think one of the quarterbacks at least is going to go in the first 6. And actually, I think you said one of them would go. Yeah. So I guess we are sort of in agreement. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to see somebody trade up to 6, or even the Buccaneers at 7. That could be a great opportunity. I've been saying this for a while, that if a team like Blake Bortles, a lot of people think the Vikings would be interested in Bortles. If you're a team farther down and you want Bortles, where are you going to go? Number 7, right?
Possibly. Okay, Sammy Watkins, you mentioned him. He's kind of a wild card. Big playmaker from Clemson, arguably the best receiver in this draft. He's automatically going in the top 6.
Sure, yeah.
Yes?
Yeah,
yes?
So close.
Yeah, for me,
somebody takes him or somebody trades up to take him.
There's no doubt. If Browns don't go with a quarterback like a Johnny Manziel, who I think makes sense for them, for an organization that's trying to find their way up and get that fan base excited, at that 4 spot now, you have Sammy Watkins fall there, and you get that playmaker. Brian Hoyer, to me, played pretty well for them early in the season. He gets hurt. He comes back now. I think you're in a situation where you kind of like what he brought to the table, and now you get an explosive playmaker with him and Josh Gordon now on the same field. Man, that's a lot of options for a quarterback.
If you're the Bucks, if you're anybody that's around 5, 6, 7, or later, you're probably gonna have to trade in the top 4 to get
Yeah,
Sammy
I would
Watkins.
think so. But there was one scenario that you sort of laid out there where if you start with your 3 and I say Cleveland goes with Manziel or Bortles if Manziel's off the clock, if Cleveland decides they have to take that quarterback with that first pick, they're afraid of waiting till the second round to get the guy they want. If Watkins drops to 5 there, are we now in a range where the Buccaneers could think about trading up 2 spots? Because I don't believe they can trade up to 2. It costs too much. I don't think it can happen. But if it gets to 5, I'd be tempted.
That is a great tease. You should be tempted.
I actually expect it to happen.
You should be tempted to come back because we're going to talk about what, under all of this premise, what the Bucks would do at 7 when we come back. Stay with us.